Well, everyone, let's go ahead and talk about the iPhone 6s and see how this bad boy holds up in the middle of 2021. Now, I've done a lot of videos on this thing. I've done iOS 15 videos and stuff. And what I can tell you is that this phone is still kind of in the middle of being worth it and not being worth it. So let me explain. First of all, the body and everything, the panel, it's all pretty decent. I love the repairability aspect of this phone. To fix really any part of this device doesn't cost that much money. And I think that's one of the biggest assets for it. But when you come down to basically the way it looks, it doesn't matter, if it's super cheap to repair, if the phone itself is pretty outdated. The same thing can be said for an iPhone 4. I don't think anybody's going to pick up an iPhone 4 because it's cheap to repair, but it is cheap to buy. And that's the thing with the 6S. It is one of the cheapest, currently supported iPhones you can pick up. And I think that deserves some credit for this phone. I think that's a really cool thing about it. But again, it doesn't mean it's the phone you should pick up just because of the price tag. I love the way it still feels in the hand though. For like a sub $70 phone, it still feels pretty expensive, and that's one thing that I really do like about this device. It doesn't feel super cheap compared to even like a Galaxy S21. You'd be surprised that a S21 may feel a little bit cheaper than something like an iPhone 6s, which is so crazy to say. Now the cameras of this thing are still pretty good too. I'm not going to hit on them in super detail, but I'm sure most of you guys know what they are. 4K 60 on the back, 720p on the front, 12 megapixel sensor, only one sensor, but it gets the job done. I think the biggest thing and the biggest differentiating factor from the beginning of this year to now would have to be the software. Currently the iPhone 6s, iOS 15 is what it's on, and I think that's a great version of software for it to be on. I am glad that it wasn't a super humongous update from iOS 14 in that standpoint. I'm very saddened though, because iOS 15 wasn't that big of an update in the first place, and the 6s already got limited features. So it's not like the iPhone 6s got every single feature the iPhone 12 got. That's not the case at all, and that is one of the more annoying things about it. So I think when it comes down to that aspect, okay, whatever, but iOS 15 so far has been a pretty decent ride. I think it's gotten better since Beta 2, and Beta 1 really wasn't amazing. It was pretty stable, but now with the 6S getting Beta 2, and hopefully with Beta 3, Beta 4, and Beta 10, and months and months from now, I think it's going to be at a really good point where it's going to be worthwhile to update to it, even on the first generation or the first version of the beta. But that doesn't necessarily mean, like I stated, that you should go and update to the specific version of software. There's still a lot of problems when you go and install the specific version of the software, and I think one of the bigger problems is with the 6S specifically would still have to be the battery. The battery life on the iPhone 6S just isn't that great, and that's one of my biggest complaints with this phone right now. Even if you were to fix it and repair it and get it back to 100% capacity, that's still not a really good point for this battery, and I really do think that's one of the worst versions of this specific phone in terms of the features of it. But I still think it's pretty decent, and I would say if you have to go for it, get it. But I will tell you, the iPhone 6s, as of right now in the middle of 2021, I think it's a good phone. I think it's good. It's very, very good for the price that you're paying for it, but it's still at that point where it's supported, and I like that. But that's really the only thing it's got going for it. iOS 15 is probably the last version of software it's getting, and at that point, I would probably tell you, at this point at least, I would see if you can afford something like an iPhone 7 or 7 Plus. Getting into that next generation of software and that next generation of performance from that phone is definitely going to give you a much better performing phone overall than an iPhone 6s. If the iPhone 6s is all you have or all you can afford, then that's what you can do. But I would still recommend getting something like an iPhone 7 or 7 Plus. Those type of devices are going to lead you into a way better situation than an iPhone 6s in my opinion. So that's essentially it. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.